Hey y'all, I ran across this article today and it said home ownership between black and white owners is worse now than a decade ago. What does that mean? That means the gap between ownership has worsened from what it was to what it is now. It means that white Americans are buying homes at a much faster pace than black Americans. Now, granted that we did see an increase year over year, but it is not moving at a pace. Blacks are not buying homes at a pace that white Americans are. How can we fix this? Education about the home buying process. Education about wealth building. Stop sharing posts telling everybody that it's okay to rent and everybody can afford to buy. Because if you're paying that rent and it's high and you're paying it by yourself, trust me, you probably can pay a mortgage by yourself. I'm not saying that it's going to always be cheaper, but I promise you it's going to always be worth it. Now, we do a lot of talking about like wealth building and equity and generational wealth and home buying, but do you really understand like what you can do, like the power of home ownership? Like, do you really get what you can do with the power of home ownership versus renting? Now, I'm going to put the article here that says this, but I'm also going to explain to you what it means to own a home. Now, I do want to be clear about something. It said that the median household income for black Americans was $47,800, and the median income for white Americans was $75,700. Belisha, that means they make more money than us. They can afford more house. It has nothing to do with the amount of money you make. The amount of house you get approved for has absolutely nothing to do with who makes the most money. That's the first lesson. Get that scenario out your head. Just because you make $20 an hour and this person over here makes $40 an hour does not mean that they can qualify for more house than you. If person A over here makes $40 an hour, but they got a $600 car note and they have a $1,000 a month loan and they got $600,000 worth of student loan debt. Person B over here makes $20 an hour. Their car is paid for. They pay $25 a month in recurring debt, and their little loan that they have on there is about $20 a month. And then they got a student loan that they only paying $37 a month for. Guess who would get the most house? No, guess who would get the most house? Oh, okay. So when you see something that says debt to income, that's what that's referring to. The amount of debt versus the amount of income is what qualifies you for a house, not how much money you make. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, credit. Once black Americans apply for a loan, they face a higher rate of refusal than white Americans, mostly because of a high debt to income ratio or low credit scores. Okay, do you need a 700-800 credit score to buy a house? No. You technically can buy a house with scores low as 500. If I'm being completely honest. But will that 500 be harder to approve than a 640? Absolutely. Now, if you are interested in like down payment assistance, first time home buyer programs, and grants and such, they do prefer you to have at least a 640. But I have banks that do 100% financing, and what that means is 100% financing means zero down. They do 100% financing at a 620. Now, you was talking about that 500 credit score. Yes, with the low credit score comes reserves. Belisha, what's reserves? Money in the bank, money in your 401k that you can pull out, money in that house that you're about to sell to use towards the next house. You need money. If you got a low credit score, if you have money, my decision to buy a home basically came when my son decided that he wanted to go to pharmacy school at one of the best pharmacy schools in the nation. That meant money. All right. I knew that I did not want my son to take out any kind of like student loans or anything like that. We were fortunate his first 4 years. He graduates in May this year. Not to have any student loans, but year 4 through 7 does not come with the same opportunities and scholarships that year 1 through 4 came with. What does all that mean? If I wanted to take out a home equity line of credit start in August to pay for my son's tuition for the next 3 years, because I'm a homeowner and I have equity in my house, I can do that. If I wanted to just pay out of pocket and not use my home equity line of credit and take him on a trip to Africa when he graduates college, I can do that. Or if I want to get this equity out my house when he graduates college and go stay in my condo and split the profits with them and say, hey, here's $20,000 to start your life, Richard. Here's $20,000 to start your life, David. And mama have the rest. We can do that because of ownership. I can also not sell the house, rent the house out once they graduate college and give them that money to have monthly. I made all these videos to tell y'all to buy the damn house. Okay? Buy the house. Don't let anybody else influence your decision. If you got questions, ask me. Ask me. Because whether you buy the house from me or not, if my goal is to truly close that wealth gap, I'm going to help you in any humanly possible way that I can. Ask questions. Get started. Like, don't be in the same place next year that you were this year. And when I say that, I'm just saying, if you were 580 this year, next year, try to just strive for a 640. And then your first house don't have to be your forever home. You can buy that $137,000 house, and in 4 years, it could very well be worth $235,000. One thing about real estate is real estate will always correct itself. You go look historically after the crash, after the pandemic, it always corrects itself. And people are buying homes every day. When I say don't listen to people, these same people told y'all not to buy a house when they was 3%, 2% interest rate. These are the same people that telling y'all not to buy now. The market ain't crashed. It ain't going anywhere. They put preventative measures in place so it wouldn't happen again. If you can afford the house, buy it. If you can't, get there. If you don't know, ask. That's all I got. That's my TED Talk. Thank you for attending.